So we've had an opening day defeat here at Claycross Town. What was your assessment of what you witnessed this afternoon?
I've probably got to be a little bit careful about what I say. Firstly, I just want to, apologise to the supporters that have travelled nearly 200 miles in terms of a round trip to watch that, because that's abysmal. I think in pre-season, I thought we had a relatively good pre-season. I think you never know. You think you're looking all right, but you don't know how others are looking. I don't think it was anything to do with that today. I think they're a good side. Don't get me wrong. I think they've got some good players and they move the ball, etc. But the big thing for me today was the fight, hunger, spirit to win first ball, second balls, duels, be nasty in the right way, and be ultimately be competitive. And I didn't think really, as a collective, we were any of those things today. And I'd like to think, from what we did last season and where we were at, and what I want my teams to be in terms of representation, is that in spades. And we weren't that today. And that's the biggest thing that lets me. I feel let down by that, and I think the supporters will feel let down by that. It felt really like men versus boys, and it shouldn't. I thought we started relatively well. We started on the front foot. And I thought we had a couple of chances from a couple of set pieces, which on another day I think if we take, we get a bit more confidence, a little bit more momentum, etc., etc. But then we've conceded a goal which is unacceptable to concede, and then we've kind of. In certain ways, I felt like we crumbled a little bit, and that's really worrying. That's concerning. And with these interviews, Benny, I'll always be honest, and I'll give supporters an honest assessment. I'm not going to come out here and go, "Oh, no, we're brilliant today." I'm not going to paper over the cracks, and because there was plenty of cracks. But I said to the boys in there, in terms of their front three, four, etc., how many times they put us on our backsides, how many times they fought for things. They're not a massive side or anything like that, but, they're Nottinghamshire lads or Derbyshire lads, whatever you want to say, with a bit of grit, determination, a bit of streetwise about them, and we didn't compete with that, which concerns me because we have done that before. So, again, in spades, we had to change system as well, which I don't like to do. There's nothing wrong with the system. As I said to the boys in the change room, nothing wrong with the system. The last 7 games we won 1-4, drew 2, lost 1, and the only game we lost was against Lincoln United, who are the league champions, in the 95th minute. So we need a reaction on Tuesday. And I'll be honest, I said to the boys, I have too many things going on in my life to come all this way to watch that. I don't mind losing if the other side are just better, and they were better today. But what I can't cope with is people being half-assed, and that's what it looked like, and that's all over the pitch. Not enough forward runs, not enough bravery to get on the ball, execution, all those things. I could go on. It's a bad day at the office, and I'm going to put it down to that. But if that continues, I'll have to make some changes, or I have to look at myself, because, as I say, I've got too many things going on to just warrant looking and watching that display and stuff, And if I was a supporter, if I was part of the board today, I'd be pretty gutted with that. But we've got to move on swiftly, and that probably sounds a bit of a harsh assessment. And people might think, Luke, you're the manager, etc., etc. But I'm not gonna dress it up to something it isn't, because that's just nowhere near today. But as I say, we have to move on, and we have to look at ourselves.
So talking about Tuesday, obviously we've got Boston Town, who were last season's playoff runners-up. Another tough test, basically.
Yeah, another tough test. Chris has done a really good job since he's gone in there, and they'll offer different things. In spades. and they'll look to play. They'll look to be direct. They've got good variation to their play. So again, another tough one. And first league game at home. I'd like to think we'll step up to the plate, but as I say, more questions than answers again, and people have got to step up and be counted, including myself. And just got to do the basics, and we'll see where we go.